The GroupBy function allows you to group your data based on a particular column in your data set, which allows you to notice trends in the data. Adding the .groupBy function gets the data set ready to be grouped by the column you specify in the round brackets, but you still need to add on the way you want the data to be grouped by that column. So we'll use the count example and hit run. The result is that the GroupBy column is the first column in the table, and then the rest of the numerical values are the count of how many participants in the data set scored each personality type. In this example, even though the question asks for a specific value within the GroupBy column, the process to find it is still the same. We hit run and we look to the female column and get our answer of 156. Here's another example how many different ages are there in the data set. We hit run and you need to count the rows in the age column by hand. However, this example shows that the count function has counted how many participants in the test were of each age seen in the data set. So there's one 5-year-old that scored value for gender, openness, neuroticism, etc. Conversely, 29 17-year-olds who belong to one of the genders score in openness, neuroticism, and so on. Here's an example of adding .mean instead of count. So now instead of all of the numerical values in each row being the same, the value changes in each column depending on the column name. So the average age of people who scored dependable is 20.8 or almost 21 years old. The average openness score of people who scored as dependable is 5.4 and so on. So to summarize, we use the count function to pull their average age was 20, average openness is 5, average neuroticism is 5, etc. In other words, if you were taking the test yourself and you wanted to trick the test into scoring you as dependable, you would answer the questions you think would give you these 5 personality trait scores. So we just saw how to group by the personality column and find the average personality trait scores for each overall personality. So we saw that the average extroversion score of dependable people was 5.333, whereas the average extroversion score of extroverted people was 4.636. The average extroversion score of lively people was 3.2, and so on. But we saw these averages alongside the averages for the age, openness, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism as well. If we wanted to filter the data so that it only shows the extroversion column averages for each overall personality score, we can squeeze in the extroversion column name within the same formula and enclosing it in square brackets to indicate a parameter. We hit run and now we only see the extroversion averages for each overall personality. You can add as underscore index equals false so that it presents as a table. Here's another example whereby the neuroticism score is the first column and the average age for each neuroticism score is right next to it. Then, to make this easier to read, once again, add the as underscore index equals false within the neuroticism column. And to rename a column, we can add the .rename function.